1971. San Francisco. A man walks into Bruce Lee's school. Not a student. Not a fan. A fighter. He challenges Bruce. In front of everyone. On camera. Bruce Lee refuses. The only fight he ever turned down. The decision that haunted him for the rest of his life. And when you hear what happened after, you'll understand why. Let me take you back. Because this isn't a story about fear. It's a story about a choice that destroyed a man from the inside. 1971. Bruce Lee is at a crossroads. Hollywood rejected him. The Green Hornet cancelled. His TV show idea stolen and given to a white actor. David Carradine in Kung Fu. The role Bruce created. He's angry, bitter, determined to prove everyone wrong. But he's also careful. His reputation is everything. One wrong move could end his career before it starts. Then Victor Moore walks in. Victor Moore isn't just any fighter. He's a karate champion. Multiple titles. Respected. Connected. And he has a proposal. Fight me. On camera. Winner gets $10,000 and the footage. We'll sell it to TV. Make history. The ultimate showdown. Bruce's students are excited. Say yes. You'll destroy him. This is your chance. But Bruce hesitates. Something feels wrong. Victor isn't like Wong Jack Man. That backroom fight in 1964. That was about tradition. About Chinese martial arts. Private. This is different. This is public. On camera. For money. Bruce asks questions. Who's filming? What network? What's the contract? Victor has answers. But they're vague. Evasive. We'll figure it out. Trust me. This is good for both of us. Bruce's instinct screams no. But part of him wants to say yes. To prove himself. To show the world what he can do. He asks for time to think. That night, Bruce talks to Linda. What do you think? About what? The fight. The offer. Linda studies his face. Do you want to do it? Bruce pauses. Part of me does. Part of me thinks it's a trap. Then don't do it. But what if I'm wrong? What if this is my chance? What if saying no makes me look scared? Linda takes his hand. You've never been scared of a fight in your life. If you're hesitating, there's a reason. Bruce can't sleep that night. His mind races. The pros. $10,000, enough to fund his school for a year. Exposure. TV means millions of viewers. Proof of his skills. Finally shut up the doubters. Validation. Show Hollywood he's the real deal. The cons? Unknown contract. Who controls the footage? Unclear distribution. What if it's exploitative? Could be a setup. What if they edit it to make him look bad? Could damage his reputation. What if something goes wrong? But there's something else. Something deeper. Something that keeps him awake. Bruce has spent years developing Jeet Kune Do. A philosophy. An art form. Not a circus act. He thinks about his teacher, Yip Man. What would he say? Martial arts is not about fighting. It's about not fighting. Bruce remembers his first real fight. Hong Kong streets. He was 18. Won easily. Felt empty after. Because beating someone doesn't prove anything. Except that you can beat them. This fight feels like a betrayal of everything he believes. Fighting for money. Fighting for cameras. Fighting for entertainment. Is that what he wants to be? A performer? Or a martial artist? He gets out of bed. Goes to his study. Pulls out his journals. Reads his own words from years ago. The highest technique is to have no technique. The best fight is the one you avoid. He wrote that. Believes that. So why is he even considering this fight? Because part of him is still that angry kid from Hong Kong. Still trying to prove he belongs. Still fighting for respect. But he's not that kid anymore. Is he? Linda finds him at 3 a.m. Sitting in the dark. Staring at nothing. Come to bed. I can't. I need to figure this out. What's there to figure out? You don't want to fight him. But everyone expects me to. Since when do you care what everyone expects? Bruce looks at her. She's right. He built his entire career on not doing what people expected. On breaking rules. on creating his own path. Why stop now? What if this is the right opportunity and I'm just scared? Linda sits next to him. You're not scared of Victor Moore. You're scared of making the wrong choice. But here's what I know about you. You always know the right answer. You're just looking for permission to follow it. Bruce goes quiet. She's right. He already knows. The next day, Victor returns. Bruce's school is packed. Students, other martial artists, even some reporters. Word has spread. Victor walks in with his team. Cameras, contracts, witnesses. This is it. So, are we doing this? Bruce's students gather. Everyone wants to hear his answer. The room is silent. Bruce looks at Victor, at the cameras Victor brought, at the contracts in his hand, at the expectant faces around him. And he sees it clearly. This isn't about martial arts. This isn't about respect. This is about spectacle. This is about money. This is about ego. Victor doesn't want to learn. He wants a story, a claim. I fought Bruce Lee. Win or lose doesn't even matter to him. The fight itself is the prize. And if Bruce participates, he's reduced. From artist to attraction. From teacher to performer. From philosopher to fighter. The trap is perfect. If Bruce wins, he's the bully who beat up a smaller opponent for money. If Bruce loses, his reputation is destroyed. If Bruce hurts Victor, he faces lawsuits. If the fight is boring, both look bad. If the fight is exciting, it becomes a template. Every other fighter will want their shot. Every promoter will want their piece. Bruce will spend the rest of his life defending his title. In parking lots. In gyms. On camera. Until he's old. Slow. Beaten. That's the future Victor is offering. Bruce makes his decision. No. Silence. You could hear a pin drop. Victor laughs. Nervous. Confused. What? I said no. I'm not fighting you. Why not? You scared? The students gasp. Nobody calls Bruce Lee scared. Nobody. Bruce's student Ted Wong steps forward. Watch your mouth. But Bruce raises his hand. Stops him. He doesn't need defending. Bruce looks Victor in the eye. I don't fight for money. I don't fight for cameras. I don't fight for entertainment. I fight to learn. To grow. To teach. This isn't that. This is a show. And I'm not interested in being in your show. So you're backing down? I'm choosing not to participate in a spectacle. There's a difference. Victor's face darkens. Everyone will know you refused. Everyone will think you're scared of me. Bruce smiles. Calm. Centered. Let them think what they want. I know who I am. That's enough. Victor tries one more time. What about your students? Don't you want to show them what you can do? Bruce looks at his students. I show them every day. Not by fighting strangers for money, but by living my philosophy, by making hard choices, by staying true to my principles even when it costs me. He turns back to Victor. You want to fight me to prove something to yourself. That's fine. But I don't need to prove anything. Not to you. Not to them. Not to anyone. Victor realizes he's lost. Not the fight. The argument. He has nothing left to say. Fine. But everyone will know about this. You refused. History will remember that. Bruce nods. I'm sure it will. Victor storms out. His team follows. Cameras and all. The room erupts. Bruce's students are confused. Disappointed. Some even angry. Why did you say no? You could have beaten him easily. Now people will talk. They'll say you were scared. Bruce tries to explain. Listen to me. All of you. Fighting isn't about proving yourself to strangers. It's about mastering yourself. If I fought him, I'd be betraying everything I teach. Every lesson. Every principle. Every philosophy. But what about your reputation? My reputation is what other people think of me. That's their problem, not mine. My character is who I actually am. That's my responsibility. But they don't understand. Not really. They're young. Hungry. They want to see their teacher destroy the challenger. Prove he's the best. They don't understand that being the best isn't about winning every fight. It's about choosing which fights to take and which to walk away from. Neither does the martial arts community. Word spreads fast. Within hours, Bruce Lee refused to fight Victor Moore. Within days, Bruce Lee backed down from a challenge. Within weeks, Bruce Lee is scared. The rumors grow, mutate, become legend. He's all talk. His kung fu is fake. He only fights in movies. He's never been in a real fight. Wong Jack Man actually beat him and he's been hiding ever since. Bruce hears them all. Tournaments, in magazines, from other martial artists, at dinner parties, in the grocery store, strangers whispering, friends defending, enemies celebrating. It eats at him, not because he doubts his choice. He knows he did the right thing, but because he's human, and humans care what others think, even when they shouldn't, even when they know better, especially when the criticism comes from people whose opinion matters. Other martial artists, his peers, people he respects, they question him, not to his face, but behind his back. And word gets back. I heard Bruce wouldn't fight Victor Moore. Really? Why not? Says it was beneath him. But maybe he was scared. Bruce Lee? Scared? I'm just saying he talks a big game. Bruce pretends not to hear. But at night, alone, he wonders. Not if he made the right choice, but if the right choice was worth the price. 1972. Bruce returns to Hong Kong. Becomes a superstar. Films breaking records. But the whispers follow him. In America, he refused to fight. He talks big but backs down. Movie star, not real fighter. Bruce tries to ignore it. Focuses on his work. His philosophy. His art. But at night, he wonders. What if he'd said yes? What if he'd fought? What if he'd proven himself? Would Hollywood have taken him seriously? Would the doubters have shut up? Would he feel this gnawing doubt? He writes in his journal. March 15, 1971. Turned down Victor Moore's challenge today. Felt right in the moment. But now, alone, I wonder. Did I make the right choice? Or did I let fear disguise itself as wisdom? Days later. March 18, 1971. People are talking. Bruce refused. Bruce backed down. Part of me wants to prove them all wrong. But that's ego talking. Jeet Kune Do isn't about ego, right? Weeks later. April 2nd, 1971. Can't stop thinking about that fight. Not because I wanted to do it, but because refusing it cost me something. Respect, reputation, peace of mind? Why does doing the right thing feel like losing? The entries continue. Bruce can't let it go. And it gets worse. The story mutates, grows. By June, people are saying Bruce ran away. By July, they're saying Victor beat him up and Bruce paid him to keep quiet. By August, the story is that Bruce begged Victor not to fight. None of it true. All of it damaging. His friends notice. Chuck Norris visits. They're training. Bruce is aggressive. Too aggressive. You okay? I'm fine. You're not fine. You're angry. Bruce stops. People are saying I'm scared. Chuck shrugs. Who cares what people say? Care. Why? You know the truth. The truth doesn't matter if everyone believes a lie. Chuck sits. Listen. I know Victor Moore. You made the right call. It was a setup. Publicity stunt. You'd have won the fight but lost something else. Like what? Your integrity. Your art. Victor wanted to use you. You didn't let him. That's strength, not weakness. Bruce nods. But the doubt remains. Dan Inosanto asks him about it. You still thinking about Victor Moore? How did you know? Because you bring him up every time someone questions your fighting ability. Bruce goes quiet. I made the right choice. I know you did. Then why does it still bother me? Dan doesn't have an answer. The cost was real. His reputation took a hit. The doubters got louder. The questions multiplied. Every interview. But can you really fight? Every article questioning his skills. Every whisper that he was just an actor. All traced back to that moment. That one fight he refused. 1972. Bruce returns to Hong Kong. Becomes a superstar. But the whispers follow. In America, he refused to fight. Movie star, not real fighter. Reporters ask him about it. Is it true you refused to fight Victor Moore? Yes. Why? Because it wasn't about martial arts. Were you afraid? Bruce's jaw tightens. I've never been afraid of a fight in my life. I was afraid of betraying my principles. But the questions continue. Every interview, every press conference, they bring up Victor Moore, the fight that never happened. And it chips away at him. Bruce writes more. June 3, 1972. A year later. The story won't die. I'm making the biggest films of my career. But all anyone wants to talk about is the fight I didn't take. How do you escape the shadow of something that never happened? October 15, 1972. Had a nightmare. I'm old. Forgotten. Someone asks about my career. Oh yeah, you're that guy who refused to fight Victor Moore. That's my legacy. Woke up in a cold sweat. 1973. July. 3 weeks before his death. Bruce is doing press for Enter the Dragon. A reporter asks, "Some people say you've never proven yourself in a real fight. What do you say to that?" Bruce's jaw tightens. His hands clench. He's answered this question 100 times. 1,000 times. But it never goes away. I don't need to prove myself to anyone. My martial arts speak for themselves. But you refused to fight Victor Moore in 1971. Why? There it is. 2 years later. On the biggest day of his career. The launch of his Hollywood breakthrough. And they're asking about Victor Moore. Still. Always. Forever. Bruce takes a breath. Forces calm. I refused because it wasn't about martial arts. It was about money and ego. I don't fight for those reasons. I fight to learn, to grow, to teach. That fight was none of those things. But don't you want to prove your skills are real? Bruce's eyes flash. To who? To you? To people who will doubt me no matter what I do? To strangers who don't understand martial arts? I spent my whole life proving myself. To teachers, to students, to masters, to myself. At some point, you have to stop caring what others think. You have to know who you are. And be okay with that. Even if others aren't. The reporter writes this down. Doesn't understand. Doesn't care. The headline will read, Bruce Lee still defensive about refusing fight. Because that's all they see. All they want to see. The interview ends. Bruce goes back to his hotel. Sits alone. In the dark. Thinks about Victor Moore. About that choice. About everything that followed. He pulls out his journal. Writes one last time. July 18, 1973. Still haunted by the fight I didn't take. 2 years later. 2 years of defending that choice. 2 years of questions. 2 years of doubt. Not in my choice. I know I was right. But in the cost of being right. Victor Moore didn't defeat me in a fight. He defeated me in another way. He made me doubt. Made me question. Made me defend a choice I knew was right. Every single day. For 2 years. That's the real victory. Not the fight. But the shadow it cast. The doubt it planted. The price it demanded. I made the right choice. But it cost me everything anyway. 3 weeks later, Bruce Lee is dead. The journal is found. Read by Linda. Never published. But the entry about Victor Moore is there. Haunting him until the end. After Bruce's death, Victor Moore is interviewed. Do you regret challenging Bruce Lee? No. I wanted to test myself against the best. He refused. That's his choice. Do you think he was scared? Victor pauses. Honestly, no. I don't think Bruce Lee was ever scared of a physical fight. I think he was scared of something else. What? Being reduced to a fighter. He wanted to be more than that. An artist. A philosopher. A teacher. Fighting me would have made him just another guy in a ring. I get that now. But at the time, I thought he was ducking me. Do you wish you could have fought him? Every day. Not to beat him, but to learn from him. That's what I really wanted. to understand what made him special. But by refusing, he taught me something anyway. What's that? That saying no can be harder than saying yes. That walking away from a fight takes more courage than taking it. Bruce Lee didn't refuse because he was weak. He refused because he was strong enough to choose his battles. Victor Moore died in 2016. His obituary mentioned the challenge to Bruce Lee, the fight that never happened. In the comments, martial artists debated. Victor would have lost. Bruce was smart to refuse. This proves Bruce was all talk. Same arguments. 45 years later. Because that's the curse of the fight Bruce refused. It never happened. So it can never be resolved. It exists in eternal question. Eternal doubt. Eternal what if. Bruce Lee beat everyone he fought. Except the ghost of the fight he didn't take. That one haunted him forever. And here's what nobody talks about. Bruce was right to refuse. Fighting Victor Moore would have been a betrayal. Of his art. His philosophy. His integrity. But being right doesn't mean it doesn't cost you. Bruce paid for that choice. Every day. Until his last. The doubt. The questions. The whispers. They never stopped. And in his private moments, in his journal, in his thoughts, Bruce wondered. Not if he made the right choice. But if the right choice was worth the price. That's the tragedy. Not that Bruce refused. But that refusing the wrong fight cost him just as much as taking it would have. Maybe more. Because physical defeat ends. You lose, you learn, you move on. But the ghost of a fight you refused? That stays with you. Forever.